Hi, everybody. It's Miss Candleberry, and I'm here to review main idea of a nonfiction text with you, the third grade leveled readers of students who are in second grade. So, hello, friends. And we're going to just remember or remind ourselves what a main idea is. Well, first of all, a main idea is the point an author is trying to make about a main topic. Main topic is what a nonfiction text is about. The one thing that the nonfiction text is about. So let's review some of the ways we've learned to help us figure out the main idea. Number one is to think of the main topic. So what is the main topic? What is the big point that the author is trying to make about the main topic? Number two is to look at the key details. Does examining the most important information tell you the point the author is making about the main topic? And our third way that we learned to help us figure out the main idea is to check the introduction and the conclusion. What does the first and the last sentence of the introduction and or the conclusion tell you? What is it? Does this tell you the point the author is making about the main topic? And again, remember, a main topic is what the text is about. It's a word or a phrase. So one, two, three words. But a main idea is the point that the author is making about that main topic. So it should be a sentence. So somebody ask somebody what the main idea is, it should be a sentence. All right, we're not looking for one or two words there. All right, so together, let's read a passage that I have down here. Let's read a passage and let's determine, here you go, here it is. Let's determine kind of what the main idea is. I'm going to read it to you. You can read it with me. And from there, we're going to then follow our hints that were on our sheet, which you can't really see anymore, but that's those hints. And then we are going to try to figure out what the main idea is from there. All right. And then you're going to practice this on your own. So let's start. The scientific method. The scientific method is a process scientists use to conduct experiments. Not all scientists or science experiments follow all of the steps in order. Steps are sometimes skipped. Steps are sometimes out of order. Scientists modify the scientific method to fit their experiments. Even though the scientific method changes with each experiment, scientists have the same goal. The goal is to ask questions, gather data, examine evidence, and try to answer questions. All right, so that was our first paragraph. If we stop now and just think to ourselves, well, what is the topic of this whole passage? We can probably figure that out, assume that it's the scientific method. Not just because that's the title, but in our introduction, it really focused on the scientific method. So let's continue and finish reading this passage and see if we can use that information to figure out what the main idea is. Ask a question. Scientists ask questions about what they observe. A scientific question must be something that can be measured by data and observation. Research. Scientists research their topics. Research helps scientists gather more background information. Scientists can learn from mistakes of other scientists so they do not repeat mistakes. I feel like if we were saying what is the most important part of this research section, I would say it probably is this. Research helps scientists gather background information, right? I think that's important. So let's go back to ask a question. Sorry, I should have done this earlier. And look, scientists ask questions about what they observe. A scientific question must be something that can be measured by data or observations. That's a really good point. So I would say the most important part of, there's only two sentences in this paragraph. So maybe we would say scientists ask questions, and I'm going to put it together with that can be measured by data and observations. I think that those two things form the most important part of that paragraph. Let's go to the next paragraph. Make a hypothesis. A hypothesis is an educated guess. Scientists use their background knowledge to research and make predictions. Make predictions to answer their questions. Hypotheses should be easy to test and measure. It is important that scientists take risks when they hypothesize. Scientists who take risks and chances of being wrong help us learn. So I would say this is probably the most important part. Scientists use their background knowledge and research to make predictions about their questions. In fact, I'm just going to say to make predictions about their questions, right? That's about hypotheses. That's what a hypothesis is. All right, so let's look at our next one. Collect data. While we're reading, you think about what you think is the most important piece of this paragraph and then pause it and see if we match, okay? Scientists test their hypotheses by conducting experiments. An experiment should have a procedure or a set of clear steps. The experiment should be fair. Only one factor or condition should change at a time. For example, if you are testing what conditions a plant needs to grow, you should only change one condition at a time. During one test, you could test if a plant needs sunlight. During another test, you could test if plants need water. Scientists also repeat their experiments numerous times. This ensures that the results are accurate. So we're going to I want you to pause here, and I want you to think of what is the most important part of that paragraph and unpause when you think you know the key detail. All right, so I think that the most important part of this is this first sentence, which is scientists test their hypotheses by conducting experiments. And if you wanted to say, you could say by conducting fair experiments. Put the word fair up there. All right, let's read the next paragraph and do the same thing. Pause after we read it. You think about what is the key detail, the most important piece of information from that paragraph, and then unpause to see if we match. All right? Analyze data and draw conclusions. After scientists have completed their experiments, they analyze their data. Scientists look to see that if their hypotheses were correct or incorrect. Often, scientists find that their hypotheses are incorrect. This may cause a scientist to form a new hypothesis and go through the process of the scientific method again. Okay? Pause and unpause when you're done. All right, so you've unpaused, and I think that this is really important right here. After scientists have completed their experiments, they analyze their data, and I think the rest of that could be to see if their hypotheses were correct or incorrect. So I think that that can make the one whole sentence, right? All right, let's read our last paragraph, same thing. You're going to pause after the paragraph and see if you can determine what the most important key detail is, or what the key detail is of that paragraph, and then unpause when you have determined it. Share results. Finally, scientists share their results. Professional scientists may publish their results in reports or journals. Some scientists share their results in presentations, meetings with other scientists. Pause. All right, I think the most important part of this is scientists share their results. That's important. So now we can follow number 1 on our sheet, which was, here, I'll look at it here, right here. You probably can't see it really well, but is think of the main topic. Well, our main topic, of course, is the scientific method. So whatever point this author is trying to make, he's trying to make this point about the scientific method, right? Because that's what the whole thing is about. So first of all, we know that. Number 2 says, look at the key details. Well, luckily, we've highlighted them. Scientists ask questions that can be measured by data and observations. Research helps scientists gather more background information. Scientists use their background knowledge and research to make predictions to answer their questions. Scientists test their hypothesis by conducting experiments. Scientists have completed their experiments. After scientists have completed their experiments, they analyze their data to see if their hypotheses were correct or incorrect. And finally, scientists share the results. So all of those things I noticed are just telling me and explaining the important part, like why scientists follow each of those steps and kind of what they do in those steps. So that does tell me that they're making a point about the scientific method, but not necessarily yet what that point is. So I think that we have to go to number 3, which is check the introduction and the conclusion. Well, first of all, there's no really conclusion to this text. As you could send, it just ends with the last step of the scientific method. So what we're going to have to do is go and check the introduction by reading the first sentence and the last sentence and see if one of those or both of those put together would be our main idea. So going back to our our introduction, our first sentence says, the scientific method is a process scientists use to conduct experiments. Well, that makes sense. All of these key details go with that idea, but let's read the last one. The goal is to ask questions, gather data, examine evidence, and try to answer questions. Well, that kind of goes with everything too. Maybe we can put both of those sentences together in one to be our main idea. So maybe we could say the scientific method is a process scientists use to conduct experiments, to ask questions, gather data, examine evidence, and try to answer questions. So we kind of put that first sentence and that last sentence together to be our main idea. All right? So now that we practice this together, what you're going to do is read a passage on the internet that you can get to by clicking the link in your teleschool document right here. There is a link, not in this one yet, but there is a link right here. They'll say passage here. You're going to follow that and you'll get to this passage right here, which is about the blobfish. And you're going to read it. And then you're going to answer these questions. 1 is the main topic. 2, what is the main idea? 3, what is the focus or the key detail, you could say, of the third paragraph, or the topic of the third paragraph, excuse me. All right, then you're going to upload your answers to Class Dojo Portfolio, under Monday's reading. All right, great job, guys. If Miss Cannonbray can. And Miss Cannonbray's got to figure out how to, where Screencastify. Screencastify. How can I stop you?